The only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology for joining Joe Biden. And remember, she was the border czar, joining Joe Biden in aiding and abetting the invasion of our country. And we're never going to stop talking about this because what they did to this country is unforgivable. It is an eternal stain on the Democrat Party. Every day we read another story. Every day we arrest another alien they let into this country who raped a child, who beat a woman within an inch of her life, who murdered a mom, who murdered a dad, who trafficked drugs into this country, who trafficked fentanyl into this country, who are responsible for dead and slaughtered Americans. And I don't know what's broken in the Washington press corps, that none of that moves them emotionally. The only thing that gets them exercised is, do we need to have more trials for terrorist supporters? Do we need to have more trials for gangbangers? Do we need to have more trials for illegal alien invaders? Even though Congress and the Constitution clearly say that you can expel invaders and illegal aliens quickly, efficiently, and properly. This president has literally saved America, and I could not be prouder. I could not be prouder, as I know Caroline feels the same way, to come every single day to this building where we have a leader sitting in office whose first, last, and every thought is the safety, prosperity, security, and sovereignty of the citizens. That's an important word, people. Citizens of this republic.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at CD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. With the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head on over to Virginia. I don't think we've been to Virginia before, but we're headed there now because in Virginia, the Democrat Party's top constituency group, MS-13, they took over a prison, a full-scale riot that was 100% premeditated. This wasn't something spontaneous. It was something that was planned and very well orchestrated. They were unsuccessful in, I guess you could say, what would be some sort of an attempt to escape, but they were very successful in harming multiple correction officers inside the prison. And I want to get into that right now because, once again, as usual, these are the people that the Democrat Party wants to protect. These are the people that these DNC lunatics want to keep in the country. These are the people that DNC lunatics have made it virtually impossible to deport without having to jump through every hoop and hurdle to get them out of here, right? Look at this headline. Virginia prison guards injured in premeditated attack by MS-13 members, officials say. Here we go. 5 guards were injured in an apparent premeditated attack by inmates affiliated with the DNC's top group, MS-13 and Sereno 13 gangs at a Virginia prison, state correction officials said. The attack occurred at 9:45 a.m. on May 2nd at the Wallens Ridge State Prison, a super maximum security prison located in Big Stone Gap, a remote town in Southwest Virginia, according to the State Department of Corrections. 5 guards were injured in the incident, including 3 who were stabbed and were transported for outside medical treatment. 3 officers, including 2 who suffered minor injuries, were responding to the attack, were released from the hospital on the day of the attack, the agency said in a news release provided to USA Today. The remaining 2 guards were hospitalized in stable condition. The agency described the incident as premeditated stabbing. The agency described the incident as a premeditated stabbing, targeting 3 corrections officers. 6 of the inmates involved in the attack had all been convicted of violent crimes, including aggravated murder, first and second degree murder, the violating of women, as I say, the R word, RAPE, according to the agency. The agency said 5 out of 6 inmates were confirmed MS-13 gang members from El Salvador who were in the United States unlawfully. Translation, they were in the United States illegally. The other inmate involved in the attack was a U.S. citizen and a confirmed member of the Sereno 13 gang. Check out this quote here. It reads, 5 of the individuals responsible for this senseless attack should never have been in the country in the first place. And I 100% agree. Virginia Department of Correction Director Chad Dotson said in a statement, every single day, our officers put their lives on the line to ensure public safety for the more than 8.8 million people across the Commonwealth. This attack is an example of the dangers they face when they show up to work every day. State corrections officials did not provide additional details on the incident, citing the ongoing investigation. I want to come back to this quote right here, right? From the Virginia Department of Corrections director when he said, five of the individuals responsible for this senseless attack should have never been in this country in the first place. Once again, I 1 trillion% agree with that statement. I had a conversation with a friend of mine's, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and this is something that I've stated on here, this channel before during a video, but I want to reiterate it again. You know, obviously, murder across the board is bad, right? That goes without saying. You shouldn't be taking people's lives. You shouldn't be violating women and violating children, as I say, but as far as I'm concerned, it's significantly worse when it occurs by an illegal immigrant because you're talking about someone who should not have been here in the first place when you're discussing people like this, right? Should have never been here. Oftentimes, you will hear DNC lunatics say it doesn't matter, and they'll poo-poo this as not a big deal because technically American citizens commit more crimes than illegal immigrants, but that's not the point, right? When you're talking about, you can say homegrown murder, for lack of better terms, uh, that's one thing because essentially there's nothing you could really do about that. It's American citizen, and it kind of is what it is. Stuff happens, and it's unfortunate. But think about how upset you would be, how devastated you would be, and I can't even begin to imagine how enraged I would be if I lost a family member to someone who should have never even been here in the first place. And the only reason that they were here committing these kind of crimes is because DNC lunatics let them in, and DNC lunatics refuse to allow us to deport them. You know who they are. I'm pretty sure all those guys that were locked up for the crimes that they committed, I'm pretty sure they were in and out of jail multiple times before the final crime that put them in the maximum security prison. But because DNC lunatics refused to assist in the deportation of illegal immigrants, as you can see now what's happening with President Trump, how many injunctions have been placed on Trump to stop him from deporting these MS-13 domestic terrorists, right? How many injunctions have been placed to stop Trump from deporting Terrain de Agua gang members / terrorists and cartel members / terrorists? You're trying to get these people out of here, and these DNC lunatics are saying, no, keep them. And this is the kind of stuff that happens when you keep them. I want to show you how far these DNC lunatics are willing to go to protect MS-13 and Terrain de Agua gang members. Look at this video here. Let me pull this up on the screen right now. I can never remember this idiot's name. And excuse, I try to be professional. I don't like calling people out of their names, but this guy's an idiot, man. It just is what it is. And because it really irritates me. I can't remember this idiot's name, but you all know him. Some of you guys in the comment section have nicknamed him Frosty. And as soon as I said Frosty, it popped in your head right away. You know who I'm talking about. Let me know if when I said Frosty, you knew exactly who I meant in the comment section, right? But here this guy goes right here. I want to play this clip of what this idiot stated, right? Because it just goes to show how far these people are willing to go to literally protect gang members, illegal immigrant gang members who should have never been here in the first place, that end up taking the lives and harming American citizens who would otherwise still be alive and not have been harmed if the federal government was allowed to do its job and remove these criminals from the country. Let's take a listen to what this dummy had to say.
Why do I care what their status was when they committed the crime? if you can prove they committed a crime. I say in the book, if I get shot, if I get murdered by an undocumented immigrant, please tell my children I did not care that they were undocumented.
Right.
That's how far these people are willing to go to protect MS-13 gang members. It does matter. Because when you're talking about people that have been killed by illegal immigrants, or for somebody who's been killed by a citizen, you're talking about somebody who was not even supposed to be here. And it's people like this idiot, this moron, that is the reason that so many of these terrorists are able to walk around the country terrorizing American citizens and feeling free and clear to do it, especially if they're in the DNC city, because they know nothing's going to happen. Chicago, Illinois, nothing's going to happen. New York, nothing's going to happen, you know? Well, maybe something might happen because, you know, we have Eric Adams working with Tom Homan. So maybe in New York for the time being while Eric Adams is still mayor, but you get the point, you know? Los Angeles, nothing's going to happen. You know, we have free reign to do what we want because people like this will protect them. This is the face of the protector of MS-13. This is the face of the protector of Trinidad and Agua. This is the face of the protector of cartel members who otherwise should and would be removed. But people like him keep putting in place all these crazy injunctions to stop President Trump from removing these criminals from the country. What I want to do next is I want to get into another video in closing, just to see if we can get a little bit more detail about what went on during that prison riot. So what I want to do right now is pull up one more video. And let's just check this out very quickly to see if we can get some more information on what happened that day. So let me pull this clip up for you guys right now.
We have this morning's Newsmax crime report, and we often, of course, report crimes by illegal immigrants.
Yeah, it happens a lot in this country. And there's another angle, though, that doesn't get enough attention. So the toll these crimes have on the prison system here, including attacks we're seeing now on corrections officers. Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera has the details of a violent stabbing inside a Virginia prison, and it left 5 officers injured and 2 hospitalized. It's really horrific. Jason, what can you tell us this morning?
Good morning, Mark and Charlotte. So this was an attack that the Virginia Department of Corrections is calling premeditated, and it involved MS-13. Here's what we know. On Friday morning, 6 inmates at Wallens Ridge State Prison launched a coordinated assault on corrections officers. Prison officials say 5 of the 6 assailants are in the country illegally and with verified ties to MS-13. And all of them have been convicted of gruesome crimes, including first-degree murder, and authorities haven't said yet what triggered the ambush, but the corrections director didn't hold back, saying that the individuals responsible for this senseless attack should have never been in the country in the first place. And it's a sentiment Virginia State Senator Mark Peake echoes, adding that the surge of violent illegal inmates in state prisons means that it's time to upgrade security.
I want to pause right there. You know, I don't think it's time to upgrade security as much as I think that, to be honest with you, man, when an illegal immigrant commits a violent crime, they should just immediately be sent out the country, right? You're sending the CCOT immediately. I didn't look into this. Maybe somebody can verify this in the comment section. I saw in passing, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just saying this out loud right now, but I saw in passing that there were talks of sending, you know, violent illegal immigrants to Rwanda. I promise you I'm all for that. I promise you I'm all for that. All the way out of here. Send them over to Africa in some Rwandan jail. You know, you thought CCOT was bad. You know? Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. You thought CCOT was bad. I'm not trying to see what the inside of a jail cell in Rwanda looks like, you know? But you send them off to Rwanda. Remember, there were talks of sending illegal immigrants off to the Sudan. You know, send them over there. I think that should be something that's done immediately, honestly, because American prisons are, you know, obviously nobody wants to be in prison, but compared to prisons around the world, man, American prisons are soft, man. Compared to around the world, it's a vacation. It's a vacation for a lot of these guys. You know, when you're talking about these hardened, extremely violent criminals, prison is a vacation. It's a vacation. They don't care. You'd have to send them to a CCOT where they can really feel like they're paying for what they've done. You know, and in my opinion, send them to the Sudan, send them to Rwanda, send it to some prison in the Congo, as far as I'm concerned. Bye-bye. Because that's not a game over there in those kind of prisons. It's not sweet over there. You don't get to be, you know, have your cell phone inside of those places over there, doing TikToks while in jail over there. Doesn't work like that over there. You know, attack one of those prison guards in in Rwanda or the Sudan if you want to. that'll be the end of you. You'd be done after that. You know, so I'm all for that, and I think that that's what should happen. You know, I don't want to beat a dead horse too much. You know, but should security be stepped up? Absolutely. But when you're talking about folks like this, goodbye. Immediately. Goodbye. Sayonara. Anyway, let's carry on and round this out.
13 attack on the officers in Wallens Ridge, just premeditated, just out, because they're in for life. I would imagine if they're at Wallens Ridge, they got nothing to lose. So why not? We'll take a couple of DOC officers out with us. We are going to.
You see, I hate to cut it off, but that's what I'm saying. They're in for life. Hardened murderers. They don't care. You have to send folks like that to someplace where they are going to pay. And CCOT, the Sudan, and Rwanda sounds about right to me. These American prisons are too sweet. They're too sweet, man.
Going to have to step up our security. There's going to be a lot more solitary confinement.
Mark, Charlotte, what makes this case particularly outrageous is first you have these illegals shouldn't be in the country, right? They're committing crimes, usually against other American citizens. It lands them in a supermax facility, and then they go on a stabbing spree against corrections officers who are charged and tasked with keeping the public safe from these violent offenders. Just more fallout from the lawless open borders we were experiencing for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Jason, I can almost hear the folks in my feed just losing their minds right now going, why are we even housing illegal aliens in our state prisons on taxpayer dime? If you're a criminal and you're illegal, get them back to their own country and let them lock them up.
Exactly. Or send them to Rwanda or the Sudan.
That is such a great question, right? I was thinking the same thing. I asked Virginia State Senator Mark Peake that, and he said, listen, the problem is if we just deport them right away, we don't know if they'll actually serve a sentence, right, in a foreign country. Oh. So it depends on the leader at the time. So we may send them overseas back to their home country, and chances are they may or may not serve a prolonged sentence. So he said, what we got to do is make sure we impose a stiff penalty here where they commit the crime, serve out the sentence, then kick them out.
So they're making sure if they do the crime, they have to do the time, and by ensuring that they do it here. Okay, yeah, no, it makes sense.
Alcatraz.
It makes sense. All right, thank you.
I'm going to say this one last time in closing. Send them to the Sudan or send them to Rwanda. I assure you that they will be doing all their time. And that is not where they want to serve their time, let alone break out free at. Okay. And we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it there. This is completely ridiculous, man, and out of control. But, you know, what can you say? When you have DNC lunatics, once again, like our man Frosty here, who's going hard in the paint to make sure they stay in the country. This is what we have to deal with. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. Or I should say, that does it for today's news. So thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.